Okay, from the unusually unbusy streets of downtown Pittsburgh, where I parked near here, the Wyndham Grand, at Commonwealth and Liberty Avenue, I'm going to walk to the point where the Monongahela and Allegheny Rivers meet to form the Ohio River. In Pittsburgh.
I'm not kidding. I believe you're right.
So they have a nice water fountain down here. And there's some outlines, or at least one outline of an old fort that was here, Fort Pitt. And there's another fort that was here called Fort Duquesne. And Fort Duquesne was the French fort, and Fort Pitt was the British fort, or American. And it's where the French and Indian War was fought, and George Washington was involved with that. This is maybe one of the outlines of one of the forts right here. So this is looking back at downtown Pittsburgh. Hotels and office buildings. And we're going to walk underneath the highway. And there's a map here. We'll get our bearings as to where we are and where we're going. Point State Park. Okay, you are here. And we're going to walk underneath this highway and walk to the fountain right at the point. And then there's an outline of one of the forts right there. So today is Saturday, September 26th, 2020. And it's a nice weekend in Pittsburgh. It's pretty cloudy today. It's supposed to be mostly sunny tomorrow, but it's still bright out. Still during the pandemic, so you'll see a good number of people wearing masks, not everybody. Lately there's been an uptick in coronavirus cases in Pittsburgh. And I know one hotspot is around the universities. University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon, which are right next to each other, east of here in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh. So that's something to watch for. And from here you can see one of the inclines. I'd have to have the telephoto on for you to see it through the trees, but there's two inclines that you can take here in Pittsburgh, and we'll go on both of them. They're from the 1870s. And there used to be more than a dozen in Pittsburgh, upwards of 15 to 20. And here's outlines of one of the forts. And you look at it, it's not that big of a fort, but this was way back in the 1700s, so let's look at this historic plaque here. Well, this is the site of Fort Duquesne, built by the French in 1754. The fort was destroyed by the French on the approach of the English army in 1758. So they have the French names of the rivers. The Riviere Manguel and the Riviere d'Ohio au Belle Riviere. Beautiful river, Belle Riviere. And it shows the officers' quarters and everything. Okay, so we'll proceed on. To the point. I have to say that one other time I was here, it was on a 95-degree day, very high humidity, and there was hardly anybody here because it was just oppressively hot, but I was here. This is my chance to see this. So now with much milder temps, I think it's going to get up to 80 degrees today, but that's ideal temperature. There you can get a better view of the Duquesne incline. There's no cars going up and down right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. It's over on the south side of Pittsburgh on the Monongahela side. And this, where the football stadium is, Heinz Field, that's the Allegheny River. We'll take a walk around the fountain. So there is a Pittsburgh Steelers football game tomorrow. A home game against Houston, so I wonder if some of the houseboats along the river are here early for that. It's a new form of, or a unique form of tailgating. Maybe they've been doing it for years here in Pittsburgh. So as you look down that the way, that's the start of the Ohio River, where the two rivers meet here. Looking back over one of the bridges over the Allegheny. It's pretty unique, this setting, even by New York standards. This is, you don't really see like a hangout spot for motorboats in the river in New York anywhere. There you can see the two cars going the opposite directions on the Duquesne incline up the hill. 30-degree angle or more. Good kayaking water. So Pittsburgh is much less industrial than it used to be. And back when it was a real steel town, hence the name of the football team, Football Steelers, there was a lot of pollution. And I've seen pictures in one of the downtown restaurants here that showed what it looked like in Pittsburgh on a regular day during the middle of the day. And all the street lights are on because it's as dark as night. That's how bad the air was. So air-wise, it's much better. And also probably water cleanliness too. But economy-wise, I don't think Pittsburgh is doing as well. It could use those manufacturing jobs. It's difficult for a lot of people to make the transition to high tech or medical professions. So there's a huge segment of the population that would benefit by having manufacturing jobs. Alright, so that's a walk around the point. It's beautiful, isn't it? Looking across the Monongahela River, there's the Fort Pitt Tunnel. So when you go to the airport, I'm pretty sure you go through the Fort Pitt Tunnel on the way out of town. It's well out of town. And when you come into the city, it's really quite dramatic, or it can be. There's a couple of tunnels that you come into the city, and as soon as you come out, it's boom, the whole skyline. Pretty exciting. All right, I'll get the telephoto out to show the incline coming down. Take a look at the houses and apartment buildings along the top of the hill. Look out over the three rivers and the stadiums. And then we'll focus in on the head house, the top station of the incline with a car waiting to leave. Let's look up the Monongahela. No barge traffic on either. Not right now anyway. So down the Ohio, the start of it. The Ohio River, actually, when it meets the Mississippi, it is carrying more water per minute than the Mississippi. So really, it's the Mississippi flowing into the Ohio. But the Mississippi gets the name all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And here's a barge coming down the river. Getting a close-up of Heinz Field, day before the football game. And this looks like the remnants of an old bridge, or maybe a tunnel that came across the river. Pretty cool. This is looking down the Allegheny side of Pittsburgh. Multiple ways to get across from downtown Pittsburgh over to the north side. Just take a little bit of a walk down the Allegheny side of the river, side of the downtown, which has a nice walkway along it, and numerous bridges over it. Look back at the football stadium, and the baseball stadium is right past this next bridge, PNC Park, where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. They finished their season this year, didn't do too well. They've been good in the past. One thing it seems with Pittsburgh is they have like the highest number of bridges of any city in the world, and to have that many bridges, it seems like people have to have a lot of places they have to go, and they can't fool around and wait to get on one bridge and go across the river. But Pittsburgh seems like it has more than enough bridges, and you just wonder whether a lot of these were built to give steel workers employment, because I know compared to New York, you only have a few bridges and tunnels for a city that size, and here in Pittsburgh they have way more bridges and a lot of highways that are flying around, usually cutting off the waterfront a lot from the public, at least not along this side of the Allegheny, on this side of downtown Pittsburgh, so that's nice. But it's very common when you're filming here to pick up a lot of traffic noise in the background. And one thing that's kind of distinctive, it sort of matches the team's colors of both the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think also the hockey team, the Penguins, there's a lot of use of yellow or gold in the uniform, so the bridges are matching that. So it gives kind of a unified look. It's kind of neat. So we'll just walk underneath the bridge here enough to see the PNC Park baseball stadium, the back of it. So if you're sitting in the stands, a lot of people have a view of downtown Pittsburgh in the background, which is a nice setting. I've always wanted to see a game there. Don't know if that'll ever happen. As many times as I've been to Pittsburgh, I haven't been to that baseball stadium, so. So you can keep taking this down. One of the bridges that goes across, I think it's the second one of the next three bridges you see, the middle one, it's the Andy Warhol Bridge. So you can take that from across from downtown Pittsburgh across to the north side, and there's a Andy Warhol Museum. I don't know if you can make it out, but it's right behind where there's a building that says Burns White on the top of it. And it's the next building in from that. All right, so that's a look down the Allegheny side of downtown Pittsburgh. looking towards the Ohio. I should add there's a Fort Pitt Museum here too. I can't tell whether it's opened. I don't see anybody going in or out, but I'm sure it's very informative. Looking back at Point State Park. And this is walking back into downtown Pittsburgh from the Point.